And with that, we are underway. Frattini with control of the field as they head to the big 90-degree turn. Clean for the most part. That is Tanahato. And Grenon scrapping away for third as Hayward looking to get a big drag down this long straightaway here into another 90-degree left. But it's Frattini with control of the field. Everybody's done a nice job so far. No big incidents to report on the opening lap here around Road America. Grenon trying to fend off Matthew Levine. Grenon in fourth. JJ Wang is already up 4 positions back in 14th. He's had a fantastic opening lap here. I believe Steven Mortensen has just gone off the track, but has brought it back on without further issue. Tough section of the track here. Through the Kettle Bottoms, headed to Canada Corner. As expecting 10 laps here, of course, this is a 20-minute timed race. Laps are around 2 minutes, excuse me. Wouldn't be surprised if we got 9 or 10. Grenon, much like last week, is starting to hound Hayward here. Oh, and there goes Hayward around. Tang looking maybe to the inside. Oh, and there goes Grenon around and into the sand. Loses 2, 3, 4 spots. He's picked up a couple of positions since we last checked in on him. Oh, and he's going to go around. Oh, no. Going to have a tough time trying to pick a spot to come back onto the track. Boy, that is unfortunate. That's one final trip down the front straightaway. Dario Frattini is going to hang on and win it. Week 3 at Road America.
A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
Presentation. Welcome one and all to week 4 of 2023. Season 4 for the Mission R Challenge. Welcome to Florida. It's beautiful and not sunny for the first time this season, and not the last. We are under the lights here at the Daytona Moto layout. Through the infield, 12 turns, 2.95 miles, 20 minutes of high-octane electric car racing as usual here on Turn 200. Tommy Cook here alongside Matt Williamson. Welcome back to the Mission R Challenge. Welcome back to the Daytona infield with a little bit of a different look than we've been sporting of late here on Turn 200.
Yeah, good to be back here after the off week to go see some racing action in person. Glad to be back, and it's a night race tonight, which is the first one that we've had for us here in the Porsche Mission R Challenge broadcast. So good to get a little different look at these cars here on a little bit different conditions. And yeah, we're on the moto layout at the Daytona road course, which I grew up watching motorcycle racing, so I'm somewhat familiar with, but it's been a while since I've seen it, and I don't think I've ever seen a moto layout race in iRacing, so we'll definitely be getting a different look at things here tonight.
So as qualifying is drawing to a close, we are 3.5 weeks into the season here for the Mission R Challenge. Why don't we take a quick look at the overall point standings?
Yeah, these are going to be the point standings from iRacing, from the official Mission R Challenge series on iRacing. So Olivia Hayward leads the standings here with 469 points. Funny enough, that is my apartment number. So nice little tidbit there for you as we start getting going here. Marlon Orlando is sitting here in second, 57 points behind Olivia. JJ Wang sitting in third, 72 points behind the leader. Dario Fertini, Ellis Spice round out the top 5. Then Maxime Grenon, Timothy Reed, Matthew Levine, Enrico Trenti, and Jackie Matthews are going to round out the top 10 here.
And JJ Wang looking for a rebound after what was a pretty promising race for him at Road America. Went sour there about the halfway mark. And he has done just that. Was fastest in the first practice session. I don't think he's... Well, actually, I think he just went to the top of the board. And he also won the Thursday Strength of Field race, which, of course, is not broadcast. But JJ Wang is doing a nice job here at the Daytona Moto course. So qualifying is got about a minute left on the clock. We'll see if we use all of that minute here. But a reminder to everybody, first of all, thank you for coming to hang out with us here this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are in the world. We appreciate you being here with us on Turn 200 to take in the Top Split Strength of Field broadcast for the Mission R Challenge. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one here tonight. We've got loads of good stuff for you coming this week. Truck racing at Bristol tomorrow night with Truck 200. Back in action on Wednesday night with the ASRL Sports Car Championship at Sonoma Raceway. And then Thursday night at Richmond, Truck Series Racing for Maximum Velocity Racing League. And I think we're still in talks here to maybe have some truck racing on Tuesday night in a little bit of a different capacity as well. But that'll all be good fun here. And then it's going to be a good one here. This is a different layout, like we mentioned, than what we've been using of late on Turn 200. The Moto course provides its own unique challenges and ones that the drivers are going to have a fun time with, I do believe. As the grid is now set, JJ Wang and Maxime Grenon, two drivers that found themselves in trouble last week at Road America, will lead the field down to turn number 1. Ellis Spice and James Watson then on the second row. Great qualifying effort for James Watson here. Olivia Hayward, the points leader, starts in 5th to the inside of Jamie Hamel Smith in 6th. Marlon Orlando was kind enough to provide the thumbnail for us for today's broadcast. He starts in 7th. Ryan Phillips to his outside at 8th. Raul DeMilder in 9th, and Mickey Friesen round out your top 10 starters. AJ Cawley and Duncan Watts on row number 6. Arnold Coe in 13th. Claudio Ardellini in 14th. John Schneebel and Jordan Smallwood 15th and 16th. Georgie Trepsick back in 17th. Alexander Kerr in 18th. Raymond Deventer in 19th. And Jay Lansko is the 20th and final driver. No split here, but a 20-car field around Daytona. and no Dario Frattini here tonight. So this one might very well be wide open unless JJ Wang has something to say about it here. Quickly, some track conditions if we have time for the Daytona Moto course.
Yeah, night race here tonight. 79 degrees on the track temperature, though, which for a night race is pretty warm. So a little bit of humidity there. And we are looking at probably about 12 laps. Of course, 20-minute race here. Fixed setups. The incident limit is 17x. That is just a straight disqualification. And no pit stops are needed here in the Porsche Mission R Challenge. So should be about 12 laps, maybe give or take one lap either way, depending on how quickly these drivers are able to complete the laps here.
JJ Wang, yes, with the big pole here tonight, had a big margin of victory on Thursday and wants to do it again here on the Top Split Strength of Field broadcast on Turn 200. We are underway at the Moto. Gren on to driver's right into the left-hander, turn 1. Shuffling for position, nearly 3 wide, nearly contact just outside of the top 5. Everybody funnels in to turn 1 and through the S here.
Oh, wow. Couple of passes for position here in the horseshoe.
Oh, spin! A spin further back in the pack. AJ Coley was one driver involved.
Yeah, AJ Coley, and it pushed a couple of other drivers wide there.
We've got a go-go. Marlon Orlando, he has dropped back, I believe, to the 9th position here on the opening lap. JJ Wang shows the way as they work their way through the little bit of the different section of the track that we're used to, the Moto section. It'll spit them out right before the bus stop on the back straightaway. Wang, Grenon, and Spice, the top 3 as they work through the bus stop. A couple of drivers with outright black flags must have either failed to adhere to a furled black flag or picked up a starting violation. Claudio Ardolini and Georgi Trepsik both will have to serve a black flag penalty here. As JJ Wang leads the opening lap, but Maxime Grenon not too far behind.
Yeah, Grenon closed the gap there. Battle for position a little bit farther back. It's Hamel Smith and Marlon Orlando. Oh!
Wow! Orlando really aggressive into the braking zone.
And they have De Mulder right in front of them as well. So a 3-way battle. This would be for the 6th position.
Smith outbroke the 15 of De Mulder there as well. So both of these drivers are itching to find their way up to 6. But patience is prevailing here. Or it's going to have to through this section. It's very slow, very technical, some weird apexes through a couple of these turns.
Yeah, and with it being the moto course, it's going to be a little bit more awkward in a car, especially a car as heavy as the Porsche Mission R car is. So, yeah, certainly a little bit different than what these drivers are used to, especially for a sports car course. Well, it's not really a sports car course. It's a moto course.
One thing that we haven't really mentioned up to this point, the draft is pretty powerful on these cars, but JJ Wang has done a nice job of getting away from Grenon, so the draft is going to be effectively neutralized here with just a couple of more tenths. It's really going to put Grenon out of range.
Yeah, the draft is heavy, but as you mentioned, if you do a good job through the middle of the course in the infield parts of it, you can just gap yourself and basically take the drafting out of the race, essentially. Battle between Arnold Coe and Alexander Kerr a little bit farther back here. This is Coe in the 14, Kerr right in front. This is a battle to stay in the top 10. Alexander Kerr has the position at the moment. And Olivia Hayward starting to reel in Ellis Spice for a top 3 now.
Since the win for Hayward on the Top Split broadcast to open the season at Watkins Glen, things have not really gone to plan. 2 run-ins with Maxime Grenon. But still, on the non-broadcast side of things, Hayward has the most victories in official races this season with 5. And quite a few races have gone official this season outside of the 2 strength of field races, and Hayward's been cleaning up for the most part. And this is effective draft range here. Go ahead.
Well, a good look at the draft for Hamel Smith. He's looking to the outside of Dave Mulder right now as they go across the start-finish. And we saw just how effective it was. And Smith able to get that position into the braking zone.
I think there was a bit of contact there. So move DeMulder back into the clutches of Marlon Orlando now.
And Mickey Friesen is right here, ready to pounce if a mistake is made by DeMulder as well.
And we see Alexander Kerr here as well. And I'll tell you this much, we mentioned J.J. Wang maybe starting to scoot away a little bit from Grenon, but that is not the case anymore. Grenon is closed back in on Wang.
Yeah, and there's some cheers for Marlon as he continues to move forward. Oh, and here comes Hayward. This is big draft range time here. We'll see Hayward maybe pull to the outside as they come to the start-finish.
This is for a spot on the podium. With 13 minutes left, Hayward to driver's right will be on the outside for this turn unless she can complete the pass, and will.
And we've seen that a couple.
Nice job getting slowed down there.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times now, that the draft is so powerful, as you mentioned, that I basically just pull right around the outside of the driver in front of you, and you're able to carry all that speed into the first corner. And the big brakes on these cars allows you to get slowed down pretty nicely.
J.J. Wang off the track, back on. I was nearly disaster.
Well, it still could be. We got to get the tires clean here.
Grenon is right here.
Yeah, that car's going to be loose, and JJ's now in defensive mode.
I couldn't tell if he ran it wide or if the back end came around in that first right-hand turn to deviate from the true sports car course. But he ends up in the grass all the same. In a safe rejoin in front of Grenon, who's running in second, and now Wang looking to get away again. All that good work the last few laps to pull a gap, and now it's all gone.
Yeah, and it's going to continue to deteriorate here as we head on to the big oval, and here comes the track for Grenon.
Wang up high. Bit of a snake. I don't think Grenon's going to be close enough to make a move. May try an out to in and look for real estate underneath Wang. Wang is doing a nice job keeping right on the white line there.
And we're on board with Grenon right now. Sounded like may have had an opportunity to make a pass, but decided to actually back off the throttle a bit to not try the overtake. Maybe just not comfortable being on the outside heading into turn one here. Shouldn't they turn off their headlights to save better power? I think
Maybe if this is a 25-minute race, they might think about that. I don't know. I think they should just all turn off their headlights anyway. It'd make it a little more interesting. Not that we really need that this race, though. There's battles all over the track here. This has been a fantastic one thus far. About to hit the halfway point. J.J. Wang on defense, but started to open the gap back up to Maxime Grenon. Olivia Hayward has started to pull away from Ella Spice. And James Watson right now in the 5th position, sort of out by himself. 3 drivers all together for 6 behind him.
Well, let's go ahead while we have a second. I want to take a look at when Wang went off the track here. This is the right-hander where you would normally turn left for the normal road course. It's a right-hander, and he just gets loose, and the back end tails off into the grass, but does a really nice job of recovering. And this is where we picked it up on the broadcast, and obviously able to continue and still hold off Grenon for now. So Hayward has gotten around Spice as we were watching that battle between the 2 leaders. So Hayward up to 3rd. Also, Marlon Orlando up to 7th now, has gotten around to Mulder.
And I think Hamel Smith in front of Orlando here is starting to struggle a little bit. So Marlon has been starting to look for opportunities to get around. And outbroke Hamel Smith there by almost 2 car lengths. Really aggressive here.
Yeah, that's just a really awkward section of the track. It's kind of a pretty high-speed sweeping corner to the right, but then there's a pretty sharp 90-degree left-hand turn right after it. So you feel like you can carry a lot of speed, but you got to get slowed right back up.
Oh, and Orlando way loose there in the final turn through the infield and loses a ton of time to Hamel Smith, and now under fire from DeMulder into the bus stop.
Mulder had the inside position, but decided not to push the limit there. And here comes Grenon again, pulling up to the back at J.J. Wang with the help of the draft here in the turn 1.
Some aggressive open wheel-like snaking there all the way through the tri-oval for Wang to try and break the toe back to Grenon. This is not a walk-away victory like JJ had on Thursday. Grenon inches away from the back of his Porsche. It's one thing to hold Grenon off like this for a lap, but you have to do it for 7.5 more minutes here. Probably another. Oh, and there's a car around in front of them. We'll get off the track in time. I think we'll slow them up a little bit. I think that was Raymond Deventer. Or actually, no, that was Claudio Ardellini.
This battle for the lead is just about the closest battle on the track as well. Several battles where drivers are definitely within a second of each other here. But this one is the closest and is going to get closer here as we move on to the big oval turns 3 and 4. Looks like Grenon thought about trying to overtake on the outside, pulls out again.
Maybe going to try for a crossover here. But JJ does a nice job leaving room. Lap traffic stays to the side. This is a better, more effective use of the out-to-in maneuver through the International Horseshoe. JJ again, though. Great car positioning.
Yeah, JJ had to protect the inside line. Grenon was able to go more of an outside to inline through the horseshoe. Had a really great run. Oh, JJ looked like he was really loose there, but still able to hang on to it.
Oh, not a great apex there. Grenon was all over him. JJ again a bit wide.
It's hard to take our eyes off of this battle, but want to mention Orlando has gotten up to 6 now, past Hamel Smith.
Those three seem to stay grouped together here, as do Wang and Grenon for the top spot. This may be Maxime's best opportunity here. Lap number 10 going up on the board this time.
Oh.
Grenon is already here to the outside. Grenon leads it at the line by a nose. 5/1000ths, in fact. Wang still has the positioning here on the inside of the left-hander. They both have to check up at various points. Wang is going to hang on.
Wow, and Grenon tried to take the position on the outside there. You have to do it on entry into the corner. Otherwise, you're really left with no room through the S's until you get to the International Horseshoe. And we saw it right there. Grenon had to back off just to pull in line with JJ.
Wang is struggling with the rear tires here for sure. Grenon is pushing hard, has yet to really show signs of struggle, but I would imagine not going to be too far behind here on the struggle bus. At least that would put these two on equal footing. JJ, especially through this section of the track, is missing a couple apexes here and there. It's certainly not an easy section of this course, especially if you're struggling with the tires. That's a good point. Raceverse hanging out with us here. Maybe Grenon sizing up a final lap maneuver through the tri-oval, and it would have worked that time. Not by much, but you don't need it by much.
And that is a great point. At this point, if Grenon does get past JJ, JJ would likely be able to just keep pace with Grenon and then take the move. Oh!
Wow!
Look into the apron here for the overtake.
I think
Wang
it's a legal
closes
maneuver.
The door.
It's one way to use the Geico restart zone. Restart a still heart there, that's for sure. Holy cow. That was, I think Grenon definitely trying some things through the tri-oval.
And as Race First pointed out, if JJ was behind, he would be able to do the exact same thing on the last lap on that big oval section of the track. So the problem is, I think Wang is going to be aggressive with the blocking if it comes down to that.
You had mentioned Marlon Orlando getting up to the 6th position. He's actually closed in on James Watson. That would be to get into the top 5. I'll keep an eye on that as we continue to watch the top 2 here as they get ready to head towards the bus stop. They're working their 11th lap. We might be able to get 2 more in. It's going to be close. We think it'll be a lap 12, but we could be wrong. Oh, Grenon a little bit snappy there on bus stop entry, and Wang pulls away by a couple of car lengths. It's really the first bobble we've seen from Maxime to this point, and it might be a critical one.
Well, it's going to be full power to the ground here to try to catch up. In the draft, you see JJ trying to snake a little bit.
White flag is waving. This is the last lap.
Wow, and that does not leave much time for Grenon. Grenon's going to have a great lap here.
Lap traffic in the form of Jay Lansko in front of the race leaders. See where Jay goes, where the leaders are able to get past. We'll stay wide here through the International Horseshoe. Much appreciated from Jay. As JJ goes through, Maxime as well.
Orlando It's pulled right up to the back of Watson now through the horseshoe. Grenon losing time here now. Needs to have a great trip through the bus stop to even have a shot.
Gap is over a second. Wang with a conservative bus stop entry. Grenon flies it in. A pretty good bus stop. May just be out of range. Out of turn 4. Grenon is closing, but not enough time. JJ Wang to the line, and he sweeps the Strength of Field races at Daytona Moto. JJ Wang wins it. Grenon in second. Hayward will round out the podium. Ellis Spice did a nice job to make a challenge for it at the end. At the line for 5th, I think, James Watson.
It is. It's James Watson. Orlando was right there on the outside, just about a half, maybe a quarter of a car length behind Watson there. It was a great battle to the line there, and also had a couple of lap cars right there too. Made it very interesting.
Looked a bit like the Daytona Oval race there at the end for the drivers just inside the top 5. As the rest of the field is getting across the line here, JJ Wang on the cool down lap. You know what this means.
Oh, I know exactly what it means. I'm going to wait for him to come up to the booth before we go for it.
Well, he'll be pumped up for sure. This is his first win on the channel. He's been appearing more and more in multiple different series. And this is an exciting one.
And no celebration, maybe out of juice here.
I think it is official now. We can go ahead and look at the final finishing rundown here for the Week 4 Sunday top split Strength of Field. Again, no split here. This is the only split. 20 drivers took to Daytona Moto here tonight at JJ Wang. It came out on top. Maxime Grenon gave him all he could handle, though. Maxime will finish in second. Olivia Hayward will round out your podium. Ellis Spice will finish in 4th. James Watson, not by much, but he'll take 5th. Then Marlon Orlando in P6. Jamie Hamel-Smith in 7th. Roel de Milder in 8th. And Alexander Kerr, Mickey Friesen round out your top 10. AJ Cawley down in 11th. Ryan Phillips in 12th. Duncan Watts 13th. Arnold Coe in 14th. Georgie Trepsick in 15th. John Schneebel, then the final car on the lead lap in 16th. Jay Lasco in 17th. Raymond Deventer in 18th. Claudio Ardellini in 19th. And DNF for Jordan Smallwood will round out the field here tonight. And rounding out the podium, we'll get to talk to this driver for the first time in a couple of weeks. It's Olivia Hayward back on the podium on the broadcast. Congratulations on the P3 finish here.
Thank you. Glad to finally be back here.
Absolutely, it was a tough one last week for sure. But never mind that, because you and Ellis Spice had a fantastic battle all through this race.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've now learned that I'm allowed one good race in this series per week, no more, no less. I mean, me and Ellis were actually in the call, and we were kind of trying to work together because we both had pretty rough times on Thursday. JJ basically the only person who ran a clean race without spinning in that one, and so we just kind of need to put our heads down. I moved my brake bias forward slightly to try and keep hold of the rears, and then just run consistent laps. I didn't want to chase after the top 2 because I just knew they had more pace, and I didn't want to push too hard. But it was mainly about just trying to hold the gap to James. I knew I was slightly faster, and I think he did as well. So he was just sitting in my draft, and then once it got to the final couple laps, when we got around that lap traffic, it was game on. and I'm just glad I got the exits where I did in the final few corners to hold him off.
Matt, do you have anything?
Congrats on the P3. I wanted to ask about this layout here. Pretty tight sections through the infield here on the Moto layout with this big, heavy car. Is it pretty difficult sliding through those narrow corners?
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a terrible layout. The main thing, honestly, I don't even know if the layout is the biggest issue, even though it is very tricky in some corners. But it's the fact that it's just a lot of access roads, which aren't run on very often. There's not any rubber down, so you could get on the throttle a tiny bit too early, and the rear just steps out. It really does not want to hold on to it. So you've really got to be careful, especially on the exit of that infield chicane, and then that last corner coming back onto the oval. It's just so easy to spin there. So yeah, layout is rough. I think the track surface is even rougher. But it's a challenge, you know. None of us are scared of a challenge, so it was fun to give it a go. I would be happy to see the regular road course next time I come here.
Yes, absolutely. Great work here tonight. Is there anybody you want to say hello to or shout out?
Yeah, I mean everyone who was winning there in Black United, just everyone who is turning up. It's wonderful to see so many people showing up. Thank you both for broadcasting, and yeah, that's about it.
Well, keep up the good work. Points leader heading into next week. Exciting stuff. Congrats on getting back to the podium here tonight.
Thank you.
And now we'll talk to your runner-up finisher, Maxime Grenon. Welcome back to booth 200. Congratulations on the second place finish.
Thank you. It was a well-fought second place, but couldn't get to the upstep today.
Well, I mean, you were given JJ all he could handle there for the entire race. Where could it have gone better for you?
I think I made a little bit of a mistake in the bus stop chicane prior to the last lap, and that really opened up the gap, which really didn't get me to any position where I could actually attack on something decent.
Matt, what have you got here?
Well, congrats on the P2, and thank you for an entertaining race. You were all over JJ pretty much the entire time. Was there a point where you thought about just trying to stay on JJ's heels and then going for the last lap pass as you got the draft there on the straightaway, or were you trying to get past a little bit earlier than that?
I started thinking about it around lap 6 or 7 because I noticed I had a little bit more pace at that point in the race. But towards the end, as I said, I was really setting up for out of the bus stop, and that mistake really cost me a lot. I was really hoping to get him on the white flag, but I just couldn't get it.
It was an excellent race, absolutely, and like Matt said, a very entertaining one as well. Congratulations on the podium here. Is there anybody you want to say hello to or shout out?
Yeah, of course, you guys are doing an amazing job hosting this race every week and broadcasting it. So I just want to give you a shout out to you guys and keep up the good work.
Well, thank you, and you as well. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again here very soon. But excellent drive here tonight.
Have a good one.
And now it's time for the race winner. I don't know if I should start with it or finish with it, but we've got the race winner in booth 200 here. And what a drive for you, sir. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Before I say anything, I just want to say this is a really good track.
It's
want to say.
It's caught some strays here in the post interviews here, that's for sure. But I mean, it didn't look like it was treating you very kind there from about the halfway point onwards, especially in the back half of the infield course. It really looked like if anybody, not just you, but everybody that wasn't able to keep their tires in check, they were really going to struggle through those last couple of turns.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I don't know, like the nighttime cooler weather, it should be grippier, but for some reason it turned into a car that understeers into a car that really wants to oversteer. Almost felt like a back wheel drive car there. But I had to be really aggressive on the brake bias in order to beat the top guys. And I'm sure you saw me struggling right there. It was white knuckle racing for sure in the infield. But that's just how you gotta do it. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So yeah, it's real tough. I don't know what is specifically about these conditions, but just something about the infield is just the rear really wants to rotate. But that's also an opportunity for you to like kind of find pace on somebody else who's not as comfortable with that kind of conditions, if that makes sense. But I almost lost it there. But yeah, I'm glad there was like that early gap that I could bank that in, so I could stay in front.
Yeah, I was gonna say it went from white knuckle to brown pants racing there very quickly. I think on that one right hander, you dropped a couple of wheels. I mean, how do you refocus after losing all of the gap that you built up to that point and basically being on defense for the rest of the race?
Yeah, so I think I'm slightly better in Maxime in just the right spots. Maxime just has my number on like the first sector and the first half, but the second sector is really where the payout is, and I think I was just a little bit better than that. So I knew if I could find a way to cool the tires down from that big slide and just make sure that I get good exits and make sure I knew where Maxime was going to place his car into turn one, that I could probably hold it. But it was tough. It was really tough. Like I was really nervous about turn one because I think that's Maxime's best corner tonight, and it's like the best corner to pass here.
Matt, what have you got for our race winner?
Well, I'll be the first to go ahead and go for it. Big
Oh, boy.
congratulations to Drinjin Wang, the race winner here tonight.
Yes. Good job.
All right.
I have the question: were you prepared to aggressively block on the big oval if it came down to it there on the final lap?
Ooh. I think theoretically, I like to say that I try to be as clean as I can. I think some of my blocks were a little late too, so I actually apologize to Maxime for that really aggressive cut down. But I don't know. Who knows in the heat of the moment, right? The lizard brain kind of takes over. But I was prepared for it to make it a good race, and if there was a point where I would have lost it, so be it. So, but I'm glad it didn't have to come down to that.
I mean, it was an excellent race. It's always good when you don't really have to leave the leaders all that much throughout the course of the event. You could just stay on the top two, and they provide consistently entertaining racing. That's exactly what we got here. Yeah, I'm gonna try it now as well. Dringjin Wen. Oh,
Yeah.
Wang. Oh God,
Wang. Well, Wang.
I messed up the last name. How did I do that?
It's the one you say the most too.
Yeah, exactly. So
No problem. I'll take the effort. I appreciate the effort.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your effort here as well. Not just in the Mission R, of course, where you're in the top 3 in points and you've swept the moto this week. Excellent work there. But I mean, in all the series that you're in, all of a sudden in turn 200, across the spectrum, you're doing fantastic work. Excited to get you on the podium last week in Truck 200. Coming out for Daredevil. I know you're trying to get an ASRL as well, at least on a part-time basis. So I appreciate you coming on to the channel here and doing very well as well and consistently entertaining us. That's we really have enjoyed having you here the last couple of months. So
Thanks. Really appreciate that.
With that in mind, anybody you want to shout out or thank here?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I want to say I think first top step for Taiwan on turn 200, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna wave that flag. Taiwan #1, bring that to iRacing. Big thank you to Matt Short and Jeff Mathis. Tonight's pace was all them. Matt actually knuckled down, worked really hard on finding kind of the gap to me, and then he gave me all that data, and that's where I could like find like, okay, this is where I'm kind of slow. This is where the temperature spot could be. And I think it really paid dividends in quality mode because I knew the exact sequence of corners to push on the out lap to get that tire for my money lap. Big thank you to James. I think he had a good race here as well. Team Boss for Team Watson Racing. If you enjoyed what you saw and you see that lots of good boys and girls at the setup shop gave me perfect settings. Go to teamwatsonracing.com for our setup shop. Lots of good setups there. And thanks to you guys for such a great broadcast and for doing this. I'm really glad to get some coverage on this car. I think it's really underappreciated. I think it surprisingly races really well, and it can throw curveballs, so you can't get too comfortable with it. But yeah, that's I think that about wraps it up.
I think you hit both the nails right on the head there. It's a lot of fun to drive, and also nobody looked comfortable at any point in this race. So, but you got to feel pretty comfortable here after taking your second victory of the week. And always nice to kick your feet up after a big win. So go do that. Go party. We'll hopefully talk to you again tomorrow, but hopefully we'll talk to you again here very soon regardless. Congratulations on the win, though.
Thank you so much. It's a good track, Olivia.
Oh, lovely. Yes, there's a good chance we might talk to JJ again tomorrow night, because I think anybody that takes the green flag at Bristol in a truck, with what we saw at North Wilkesboro, has a chance to end up on the podium at the end of the night. Anything and everything is possible, but there's every chance that we'll talk to him again next Sunday at Okayama. That is where we will be next week. Matt, we had a fun one here. I'm glad you were here for it. Daytona Moto may not be the course that we know and love, but it put on some entertaining racing, that's for sure.
Yeah, it certainly did, and I think kind of like you said, JJ, he hit it right on the head there. This car, obviously we didn't know much about it until we started getting in with this group, and we're talking about broadcasting for this series, and he's not wrong. I mean, we have seen some fantastic races out of this car, and I just continue to enjoy it more and more every week. So shout out to all the drivers that came out here today. Appreciate you showing up for the broadcasted Strength of Field race. And shout out to the folks that were watching along here with us tonight. Monica is always in the chat with us, so thank you to Monica Rodriguez and Race First for hanging out with us here tonight. And anybody else that was watching that didn't chat with us, we greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Again, hope to see you back with us tomorrow night for Truck 200 at Bristol, or the ASRL Southern Shores Realty Sports Car Championship on Wednesday at Sonoma for GT3, GT4 multi-class racing, or with the trucks at Richmond for Maximum Velocity Racing League on Thursday nights, or back here next Sunday for Okayama for the top split broadcast Strength of Field race for the Mission R Challenge. For everybody that helps put on the Mission R Challenge and everybody in the Discord, for the GOAT, Mr. Matt Williamson, I'm Tommy Cook. Until we meet again here on Turn 200, we say so long from Daytona Moto, where JJ Wang stands tall over the rest of the field.